Welcome to the MS-Perspektive podcast. Perspective with a K, as I'm German. I'm Nele Handwerker, MS patient, patient advocate and author. I'm bringing you interviews, inspiration and information about living with multiple sclerosis and show you ways how you can positively influence the disease and make the best out of your diagnosis. On ms-perspektive.com you will find the show notes, 11 free tips as a PDF and lots of other information. And now the show begins.
This podcast is supported by Mid-Mission, a project of the nonprofit Hertie Foundation.
Welcome to episode 37, Unlocking the Nutritional Code for MS, exploring the Nourand project with Dr. Mireia Sospedra. Dr. Mireia Sospedra is an immunologist and science communicator and creator of the Nourand in remote work in Zurich. And she's a co-founder, co-owner and scientist at Celeris AG in Schlieren, Switzerland. And now the interview begins. Hello, Mireia. It's lovely to have you on the podcast today and a warm welcome to Schlieren in Switzerland. Are you in Schlieren right now?
Actually, I am in Zurich.
In Zurich. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we start with the interview, it would be lovely if you could introduce yourself to the audience so they know who is with me today on the podcast.
Okay. Thank you, Nele, for the introduction. I was born and grew up in Barcelona, and there I also study biology, and I pursue my PhD in autoimmune diseases. And after my PhD, I worked for 2 years as postdoctoral fellow in Paris. And afterwards, in 2001, I decided to further build my training in translational immunology in United States. And I moved to the National Institute of Health, NIH, where I started working in multiple sclerosis. That has been the focus of my research until now. And during my postdoc in the States, I met my husband, who is German, and we got married in 2004. In 2005, we returned to Europe. In 2006, we got our son. And in Europe, we have been working in Germany, in Hamburg, for 5 years, in Zurich for 12 years. And as you can imagine, if you listen my trajectory, I like a lot traveling, discovering new places, and also cinema is one of my great passions. And also, as you can imagine, languages is not my thing, and even living so long in German-speaking countries, unfortunately, I cannot do the interview in German.
No, but that's fine. I mean, I started the English podcast in order to get access to a broader audience, and I will translate that interview into German, so the German audience who is not as good in English, they can listen to the content as well. Very, very interesting life story. So what was your personal motivation to move into multiple sclerosis? Was it all about the lovely MS patients like me?
Actually, in this regard, I have to admit that in general, my career is more the result of having taken advantage of the opportunities that came in my way, no? More than having really a design plan. And I guess the career is a mixture of work, of good decisions, but also of good luck.
Absolutely.
It was not really very planned, I have to say.
Okay, so today we want to talk about Nourand and its purpose. Can you introduce us to Nourand and its mission in supporting individuals with multiple sclerosis?
Yeah. In order to explain what is Nourand, I think I need to do a little of personal history. As I mentioned, I work in multiple sclerosis since 2001. And the focus of my research has been always T-cell specificity meaning to identify the autoantigens that trigger MS. And in 2018, we identified a new autoantigen that was not only expressed in the brain, but also was expressed in some bacteria of the gut microbiota, and in particular in one bacteria that is called Akkermansia, that has been found increase in many MS patients. Mm-hmm. And based on these results, we hypothesized that maybe the gut from the microbiota might act as a trigger of multiple sclerosis, activating pathogenic immune cells in the gut. And obviously, we start to be interested in things that can modify this gut microbiota as nutrition. And for this, I did, in order to learn more, I did a 2 years master about nutrition, and I really discovered a new world that is very interesting and very exciting. At the same time, I've been always very interested in teaching and in science communication. In 2006 already, I did a master in science communication, and this was always something that I like a lot, mainly with students. That is what was in my work. And another important point was that talking with physicians, with neurologists, they told me that overall, patients are very interested in nutrition, but also they feel in some way stress and loss because there is a lot of information in the media, in internet, that sometimes is even contradictory and different from drugs that they take only under prescription. Here, they don't have any supervision if they decide to follow a diet or to take a supplement or a nutrient. And this is finally very stressful for them. And putting all together, I thought, maybe it will be interesting to educate patients about nutrition and multiple sclerosis in order later they have the tools to take informed decisions. And during the pandemic, I offered this possibility to a MS patient association in Spain to make a course for MS patients. It was a course from September to April. Mm-hmm. And every month we have a session. They record this session and they put in the webpage. And I was surprised, and also in a YouTube channel, I was surprised with the number of visits that the video had, even were in Spanish. And I thought, well, looks like this is something that maybe patients need and maybe will be useful. And this is how we create Nourand. And this is the main objective: provide information of quality, because we are experts in MS and we supervise this information, also in a way that it's easy to understand for everybody, and with the idea to provide tools and make that patients can take better decisions regarding this subject.
Really great. And I mean, as soon as I saw the kind of launching or what it was, news on LinkedIn, I thought, I have to get Mireia. That's such an important topic. And I know that many patients are really interested in that. And as you mentioned, there are lots of information out there. Not all of them are valid, and evidence-based medicine or information is really important and key, but it also has to be easy to understand. So, let's dig a bit deeper into the main points of your website. Let's start with the basic. Could you provide an overview of the fundamental concepts related to nutrition and MS that is covered on Nourand?
The main points that you asked probably are more about this basic course, but Nourand has different sections. We provide the information like in sections. One is the basic course, that it's completely free. Later there is a section that are the monographs. In the basic course, we gave general information about multiple sclerosis about nutrition and about nutrition in multiple sclerosis. Mm-hmm. Later, the monographs, we comment or we talk about specific subjects in much more detail. For example, until now, we have one monograph about olive oil, another about omega-3 fatty acids, another one about fiber. The next one will be about spirulina, will be topics. Later, they are the nutrient fact sheets, that it's precise information about a nutrient, doses, problems, advised events that can produce, where you can find evidence, but very concise information. Later, there is the blog news, in which we talk about new findings, scientific findings, also in a way that everybody can understand. And later, there are two sections that go beyond information about nutrition, that are your experience, in which we expect that the members of the Nourand community can share their experience with nutrients, diets, and another that it's information about other subjects that can be or not so related with nutrition, like mindfulness, yoga, exercise, books that also can help in the well-being. But regarding the course, that it's one of the important parts of Nourand, in the first chapter of this course, we talk about the basic concepts in nutrition, like, for example, the difference between nourishment and nutrition, between nutrients and food, or also about the main systems that are important in digestion, the digestive system, but the urinary system, the nervous system, the immune system, and the endocrine system. And this is what are the main concepts in this first chapter of Nourand.
Now, as you just explained it, it's everything around digestive system is quite complex. As so many other systems are kind of involved, it's not just the gut. So how does Nourand break down this complexity to help individuals better understand its role in MS?
Yeah, you are right. It's very complex. And for this, in the second chapter of Nourand, what we do is we explain first the anatomy of the digestive system in detail, and later we explain what happened in every part of the digestive system, since the food enters in the
mouse.
In the mouth until is excrete, the stool is excrete through the anus. And we go part by part what happened in each of these different sections of the digestive system.
Okay. And beyond absorption, what other aspects of nutrients does Nourand discuss, and why are they important for individuals with MS?
Yeah, this we discuss in the third chapter of the basic course of Nourand. And in addition to explain what happened with the nutrients once they are absorbed in the gut, we also provide detailed information and also recommendations about nutrients. We explain, for example, why we should take complex carbohydrates, and not simple carbohydrates. Also, how we should combine food in order to get all the amino acids that we need to synthesize proteins. For example, why saturated fat is unhealthy, or why water and iron are so important, and how much we should consume. And this chapter, it's true that it's more general in the way that the recommendations are for everybody, whether the person is or not affected with MS, because are general recommendations, but also obviously for people with MS.
Yes, I mean, I guess at the end, a healthy diet is healthy for more or less everybody, exactly. Except if you maybe have some very special problems, issues. Nowadays, the gut is often referred to as our second brain. How does Nourand explore the connection between the gut and MS?
Yeah, this is actually a very interesting topic, and actually a lot of people is interested in this part. And this we talk about this subject in the 4th chapter of the course, and we talk about the gut as our second brain, and also about the connection between the gut and the brain. And we show that the gut is more complex than people think, because it's not only a digestive organ. There is also an endocrine organ, an immune organ. We can even consider a microbial organ because it has a lot of bacteria. And this is because the gut has a lot of functions. And in order to control all these functions, in the gut there is also part of the nervous system that is the enteric nervous system that has a lot of neurons. And this is why some people consider the gut our second brain. What we explain also in this chapter is that the brain and the enteric nervous system, the gut, share neurotransmitters. And this is why the communication between both organs is very easy. Mm-hmm. And the things that we have in the gut, the food, the hormones, anything related with the immune system, mediators of inflammation like cytokines, and also the things that produce the gut microbiota like vitamins or short-chain fatty acids, all these things influence the production of neurotransmitters in the gut. And since are shared with the brain, also the information that arrives to the brain and affects the subconscious and the perception that people have, for example, of fatigue, of pain, of stress, of emotions. And this might be why MS patients that have alterations in the gut, especially in the gut microbiota, might sense all these can have different perception and of fatigue, of stress, of emotions, and why they more often suffer from fatigue, from depression. This can be one of the explanations.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned already a couple of times the microbiota. Could you share insights into how Nourand delves into the role of the gut microbiota in relation to MS?
Yeah, this we cover the gut microbiota in the 5th chapter of this course, and what we talk is we show the main evidences that suggest or demonstrate an alteration of the gut microbiota in MS patients. We also talk about the different mechanisms that have been proposed of how gut microbiota can influence the development of multiple sclerosis. And we also talk about strategies, how we can influence gut microbiota beyond the diet, beyond nutrition, that are the biotics. We talk about all the biotics, the prebiotics, the probiotics, the paraprobiotics, the symbiotics, and the postbiotics. And also we talk about the fecal transplantation.
Okay, very, now I'm a bit overwhelmed. I think I have to do the course myself to learn a bit more about everything. But yeah, it's really great that you started that initiative and that is now open to MS patients. But let's come to the next chapter. Of course, the immune system plays a crucial role in MS. So how does Nourand explain the connection between the immune system and nutrition in MS?
Yeah, you are completely right. The immune system is very important in MS, and in particular neuroinflammation that play a crucial role. Neuroinflammation induces demyelination, and as a consequence of demyelination, the neurons, when they lose the myelin, they die, and we have neurodegeneration. And they are nutrients that can have anti-inflammatory or can produce anti-inflammatory effects. It's very important in the development of MS, and they are other nutrients that can be neuroprotective, and some even can be remyelinating. or promoting remyelination, meaning that nutrients have properties that are really very, very important for MS patients, not only in inflammation, but also as neuroprotectors and remyelinating.
That's great, and that sounds like it's also very interesting for the progressive patients where remyelination is more important as the, let's say, inflammation is not that crucial anymore.
Yeah, and also because, for inflammation, we have drugs, we have treatments. But in the moment for remyelination, we don't have anything. If any nutrient that we know is not going to damage can improve remyelination, it's really worth to use and to consume, obviously.
Yes, absolutely. Nourand discusses the impact of sex hormones. I've just been to ECTRIMS and I listened to quite some interesting presentations on sex hormones dedicated to women. But could you provide an overview of this topic and its relevance to individuals with MS for your focus, of course?
Yeah. MS, it's, as all you know, is much more frequent in females than in males, and it's assumed that sexual hormones play an important role. Will be the estrogens more anti-inflammatory, more increasing the risk, and the testosterone more protective. And now seems that in addition to influencing the immune system, seems that gut microbiota, hormones also influence gut microbiota. Mm-hmm. In some animal models, it had been demonstrated that actually testosterone is who induce more changes in the gut microbiota, and these changes seems to protect in front autoimmune diseases. This will be another way how hormones can be involved in increasing or reducing the risk of MS.
Yes, and they are also crucial on our journey with MS. Exploring the core of MS, what insights does Nourand offer about the etiology and pathogenesis of the disease?
Yeah, we think that in order to understand how we can use nutrition to manage the disease or to control the disease, is very important also to understand very well the disease. For this, we have a chapter only about MS, about the etiology and pathogenesis. That is the chapter number 8. And there we discuss in detail the main evidence that support the role of genetic background and the environmental factors in MS, and also the main pathomechanisms that have been proposed for MS. But in addition, we introduce another important aspect that is related to this complex etiology and pathogenesis, that is heterogeneity. Because MS patients are very heterogeneous in the clinical presentation, in the imaging, pathology, response to treatments. And it's very important to take into account this heterogeneity, and actually, because we don't understand completely, also represents and complicates patient management. And we talk about all this in this chapter.
Very interesting, yes. Nutritions are a central theme. How does Nourand guide individuals on the role of specific nutrients in managing MS symptoms and activity?
Yeah, about the nutrients we talk in the chapter 9. Actually, we talk about vitamins, antioxidants, fat, milk, salt, fiber, and probiotics. And what we do is we describe the mechanism of action in our body. We explain which foods contain these nutrients, the doses recommended for general population and for MS patients if they are recommendations, and also we talk about the evidence that support a positive or negative role in MS. And always at the end, we make a general recommendation for people affected by MS.
Great. There are many diets out there, and of course they can play a pivotal role in living with MS. Could you share an overview on how Nourand explores the different diets and their potential impact on MS?
Yeah, we also talk about diets in MS in chapter 10. we talk about the main diets that have been suggested as positive effects in MS, like Mediterranean diet, the caloric restricted diets, the ketogenic, the Paleolithic, and also the intermittent fasting. And for all diets, what we say is what exactly these diets recommend regarding food, regarding energy, how much energy we should take every day. Also regarding time, if they tell us when or no to eat. Also, we talk about the mechanism of action, why this diet should be positive for MS people, and also the evidence, if there is really clinical trials or which evidence we have for each one of them. And finally, like with the nutrients, we also give a general recommendation for people affected by MS.
Sounds good, yes. You have at each of these 10 topics on the basic course, you have questionnaires and interactive learning. How do the questionnaires enhance the learning experience for users, and how do you use the results?
Yeah, the idea of these questionnaires is because we think that they can be useful to fix concepts. The idea is that when people see the video of each chapter, later see whether understood everything, filling the questionnaires. And if there is anything that they have doubts, they can come back again to see the video to clarify this specific point. Meaning it's not, we are not going to use these results. This is really to use by the people who look the videos, only to be convinced that they understood everything, meaning will be only for personal use. We will not use the results of these questionnaires.
Okay, it's not like school, it's more like, okay, to give me a feeling I understood the topic, or I should maybe go back and dive a bit deeper or again into the topic, as I don't know. Myself, I have right now a little bit of a cold, so I might not remembering everything, and maybe I see it in the questionnaire, and then I can go back and do it again.
It's a self-control, no? Self-checking.
Sounds good. How can individuals get involved or engage with the Nourand community beyond the basic course? I mean, you mentioned already all the additional things that are there, but maybe if you can summarize it again.
Yeah, sure. We have a subscription. It's a subscription of 50 euros per year. And with this subscription, subscribers have access to all content of Nourand, to the monographs, to the nutrient fact sheets, to the news blog, and to the resources. But in addition, they can also participate in a special section that I comment that it's called Your Experience, in which they can share the experience in two different ways. One way is to share the experience with the objective to improve our knowledge about multiple sclerosis, because what we pretend is that every subscriber can fill a questionnaire that is completely anonymous, where we get information about demographic information, clinical information, and also if they are taking special or specific supplements or following a diet. And since Nourand in the moment is in Spanish and English, but we hope that soon will be also in German, to have access to many MS patients and to get information about a lot of people in the way that we can build a database that later we can analyze and we can really improve our knowledge about the effect of some diets, some nutrients on the main symptoms of MS. And this information will be shared with all subscribers every 6 months. And in addition, also, more at the personal level, subscribers can also share their own experience that they think can benefit also to other members of the community in a section where they can share experience, pictures, everything that they will like.
Sounds good. I mean, it's always nice if you have a community, and I think the €50 are well invested in that. If I consider how much I pay, I don't know, for my music subscription or my audiobook subscription, that's absolutely reasonable. In what ways do you believe Nourand can positively impact the lives of individuals living with MS?
Well, I think that nutrition, diets, and supplements play an important role in how we feel, and in particular can play an important role in people affected by MS. And I think with Nourand, people can really understand all the mechanisms, all the advantage of disadvantage of diets, of supplements and nutrients, and all this can really allow them to judge better any information that they can find in the news regarding any advice about nutrition.
Sounds good. What message would you like to share with people affected by MS who are interested in exploring the connection between nutrition and MS through Nourand?
I will say that Nourand can help people affected by MS because can help to better understand the disease, also how work the digestive, the immune, and the nervous system, and also to know the advantage of nutrients, supplements, diets, and all these they can learn in a very easy way. Also from the hand of experts, because all the information it's based in scientific evidences, and all this can help them to incorporate nutrition in the management of the disease.
Yes, and it's always great to do something besides just taking medication. I'm totally a fan of using everything you can do to keep the MS as, let's say, silent and in sleeping mode as possible.
Exactly, and especially in aspects that are not covered by the drugs, no? Because neuroprotection and remyelination at the moment still is very limited what we can do with drugs, meaning that anything that we can do to protect the nervous system, it's really important.
Yes, and a healthy diet helps also to avoid comorbidity, so other diseases that might come up when we grow older and are not taking good care of our body and eating just crap food. Finally, where can our audience find Nourand and begin the journey of discovery and empowerment in nutrition and MS?
Yeah, Nourand has their own webpage that it's nourand.com. But also we have a page in LinkedIn, in Instagram, on Facebook. But I will recommend really, you can follow if there is anything new in LinkedIn, Instagram or Facebook, but to go to nourand.com because there is where you will have access to all information. And as I mentioned, there is the basic course, there is one monograph about olive oil and also one nutrient and one new that are completely free in order people interested can see the quality, can see the level, and can see if they are interested or not in later do a subscription.
That sounds good. Yes. And I have to admit that I will, after our interview, go and eat some bread with olive oil because now I'm hungry. Mireia, thank you very much. Of course, I will put the website profile and the media channels into the show notes and into the blog article. Thank you very much. And thanks to the whole team. And to everybody who did research, which you are now, let's say, digesting and making it easy to understand for us as a MS community. And thanks a lot. And to you out there, I think it's really worthwhile checking that homepage. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed the interview and learned where you can find reliable evidence-based medicine on a good nutritional approach for your MS and not getting confused with all the various information in the internet. I think Nourand is really a great place to go there, and you get lots of information already for free. And if it makes sense for you, then you can go for the paid model, which is, I think, totally okay when you compare it to other services like, I don't know, Netflix or Spotify or whatsoever, because this really will help you with your prognosis and doing something on your journey with MS. By the way, next time I will concentrate on the Brain Health Report, Time Matters in Multiple Sclerosis. And this report presents consensus recommendations on diagnosis, therapeutic strategies, and improving access to treatment in MS. The leading person behind that initiative was Professor Dr. Gavin Giovannoni, who is, I guess, pretty well known in the MS scientist scene. And he is one of the persons who recommends to flipping the pyramid, for example. So treating MS very efficient at the beginning, and then maybe later go on to a less effective modifying drug, but really use that window of opportunity at the beginning. And I will give some insights next time, so please tune in again and see you next time. Thank you for listening today. I hope you found it helpful. You may also be interested in the previously published episodes and posts, which you can find at ms-perspektive.com/podcast. Perspective with a K. You can also get a free PDF with 11 tips for your positive impact on MS at ms-perspektive.com/newsletter. If you'd like to get in touch, you can reach me at nele@ms-perspektive.com or on social media. See you next time.